From the Oklahoman and Gannett Media, I'm Dave Morris, joined by my colleague Carmen Forman. She covers things in the Capitol here in the state of Oklahoma. And some big news coming from Governor Kevin Stitt. I will start with this headline, though, that there are 1,075 positive cases of coronavirus announced today by the Oklahoma State Department of Health. And among those was Governor Kevin Stitt. He held a private Zoom press conference this morning for the media. Carmen, you were among those, so was I and a lot of other of our media colleagues. What did we hear?
Yeah, I've never seen so many reporters on a press call before. But the big takeaway is that the governor announced that he had tested positive for coronavirus. He started feeling symptoms and got tested yesterday, got the results.
So I personally get tested periodically throughout this whole thing, and got tested yesterday for COVID-19, and the results came back positive. So I feel fine. I felt a little bit achy yesterday. I didn't have a fever, but just a little bit achy. So just did my regular testing, and it came back positive. So I just want to be transparent with Oklahomans.
And since then, he's been quarantining. He's away from his family, who is tested negative for COVID-19. But he has it. He's the first governor in the nation to test positive for this virus.
All right, what else did we learn? Some of the details, because a lot of people are like, okay, the governor has it. What's the timeline? He discussed his timeline a little bit, and like a lot of things with coronavirus, timelines can be pretty vague.
Yes, and I think one of the main questions that a lot of people have, especially those on the internet, they all want to know is, well, did Governor Kevin Stitt get this from President Trump's campaign rally in Tulsa? And so today is, I've lost track of the date, I think it's the 15th. And Trump's campaign rally was on June 20th, so almost a month ago. And so basically the governor and the state's top health commissioner sort of said it's very, very unlikely that the governor caught COVID-19 from that event. He more likely would have had to catch COVID-19 sometime in the past couple of weeks to have been able to test positive for it yesterday. And the governor himself even joked, like, maybe one of my kids gave it to me, or, you know, I took the kids on a drive over the weekend and we gassed up at a gas station, could have picked it up there, that sort of thing.
You mentioned Health Commissioner Lance Fry. He was also on that call this morning. You can watch those press conferences on our website at oklahoman.com. You can also, if you want to, go back and see President Trump when he visited Tulsa. Governor Stitt and his wife were among those in the crowd. They were not wearing masks, and the governor was asked about that, Carmen, about the fact that he hasn't worn a mask. And one of the chief questions now is he going to enforce a mask mandate? But we didn't hear that.
Correct. Yeah, he's asked about that pretty often, almost every time he has a press conference, and he was asked about it again today. And he basically said, no, I'm not going to do that. He says it's fine if localities want to implement their own mask mandates. And as we know, the Tulsa City Council is talking about that today. Oklahoma City Council is going to talk about it soon. But he has basically maintained that individuals have the right not to wear a mask if they so choose. And he's also said it would be very difficult to implement such a policy, like how, you would carry it out. Would you fine people? Would you just send them to jail if they're not wearing a mask? And today he kind of said, well, what if you're not wearing the right sort of mask? Like you're not wearing an N95, or what if your mask slips below your nose? Like then do you get in trouble? He makes a good point. It would be difficult to enforce, but we've seen other states make attempts to try and enforce that. The governor of Texas has implemented a statewide mask mandate, and people will be fined down there essentially if they are out in public without a mask.
So at the top of this, my final question for you, Carmen, we reported over 1,000 positive cases of coronavirus in the state, according to the state health department on Wednesday, July 15th. That's the record number for us so far. So that pressure is mounting for the governor to do something regarding perhaps masks. Since that press conference, you've spoken with a couple of other people. What are some of the other reporting you're doing and you're hearing from people?
Yeah, I just before this got off the phone with Dr. George Monks. He's the president of the Oklahoma State Medical Association, and he was really encouraging the governor to do something, anything, especially maybe a statewide mask mandate, because the way he put it is that it's a really good metaphor, actually, that coronavirus is like an 18-wheeler driving down the Turner Turnpike, and you can hit the brakes But it's not going to stop immediately because that thing is so heavy and it's got so much momentum going with it. And so he kind of basically said that, the coronavirus surge that we're seeing now is just sort of the tip of the iceberg. And in 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be so much worse. And as we know, it can take 2 to 3 weeks for any mitigation efforts to sort of show up in the data. So again, even if we hit the brakes on the semi-truck, the tractor trailer, whatever it is, the 18-wheeler now, it could take a while. So even a statewide mask mandate now could, take weeks to have any effect. But that's what he's calling for. That's what he's urging. He's urging the governor to do something as our case numbers rise, as our hospitalization numbers rise.
That is a metaphor for 2020, I think. 18-wheeler, it's heavy, a lot of momentum. Who knows where this whole year is going at this point?
Maybe more like a 18-wheeler that's on fire and just speeding down. I don't know.
That's right, a dumpster fire of an 18-wheeler. She is Carmen Forman. You can follow her coverage on Oklahoman.com and in the pages of the Oklahoman, also on Twitter, Carmen M. Forman. For more coverage of things going on at the Capitol here in the state of Oklahoma. Carmen, we always appreciate your time. Be safe.
Thanks, you too, Dave.
Thank you. And for Gannett Media and the Oklahoman, I'm Dave Morris.